Alright, hello everyone. This is going to be a real short video. I know I should be working on stuff, but Ralph Contreras, over on the Adventures in Comic Making server, was practicing setting up panels and also doing speech bubbles in Procreate, and I'm going to give you my tips for it. Now, you might find some other way that you like to do it better. Everyone's got a different way that they do it. But I'm going to show you what I know about it and what I think looks good. So I have these two are unfinished; they're not on there, so we'll actually do these. But one of the first things I want to show you is when you put your lettering up here, you don't want it to. Let's see, this one's called Just Up Ahead, so you don't want it like that, right? You don't want it long if you can help it. And you might be thinking, oh, well, that's using up less space. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But what you really want is to stack it. And the best number is probably 4. So that's 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you want to balance. That's even better to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to get your stuff nice and tidy and packed up like that. And you'll notice all of my speech sections are like that, except for this one, but that's the chapter opener, so that one's a little bit different. Okay, the next thing I want to show you, and I haven't done it here, but before I show you this, I want to show you some real comics. Tarzan. Take a look at the speech bubbles in this comic, and there are speech bubbles all throughout it. First of all, you'll notice the number 4. This one's got 5 lines, but most of these are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one's 5 too. Maybe 5 is the right number. But you'll notice they are packed up and circular. Right? That's how you get the circular speech bubble. The next thing I want you to notice is every speech bubble is backed up against one or more panel borders. This one's backed up against the top border. This one's backed up against the left border. This one's top border. This one's right border. This one's the bottom border. This one goes backed up to the top border. And they're using those straight lines. I don't know if you can zoom in and see that. And it's literally almost every speech bubble, right? Now, this does not hold true for narration boxes. Narration boxes are broken free. But almost every speech bubble uses the panel border. I bring it up every time I do the, when I'm working on my comic. So when you do your speech bubbles, look, these are a bit lower, so they didn't have a good place to put them. Plus they had an inset panel that there's no good place to put them. So these don't have a speech bubble. But these are the exception. The rule really is to go up against the speech bubble. I mean, up against the border whenever you have an opportunity to do it. Next thing is, they're not perfectly round. Don't just circle it and wait for it to turn into make it into an oval. It's not how it works. I mean, you can do it that way, but and that's how a lot of people who use Clip Studio Pro do it. But it's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to circle your words, your speech, with enough air. You want enough air in the bubble, right? All right, so I'm going to show you how to do it with this one over here, or at least how I do it. Like, once again, I'm showing you this, but you might come up with a different way of doing it. Maybe it's your style or something like that. But this is pretty time tested. Now I had this as long, but it's so hot. But I was gonna make it so it's all nice and packed up. Okay. Now if you have a leading issue, that's a different issue. I'll show you what leading is. When you have a leading issue, it might look like this, like with your speech, it's too far away, and the font might do it automatically. I'm using Evil Genius, which has no leading issue, but let's say I used instead a different font. Issue number 2. I use Ready for Everything sometimes. And this is a great font, but it's got a leading issue. It's too far away. So if you have Ready for Anything, you would take the leading, and the good number for Ready for Anything is 6. So you put in a 6 there, and it's -6. And so now once I hit 6 and I hit the little negative sign, now it's all nice and tight, right? It's nice and tight. And why do you want it tight? So you can put a circle around it, right? So let's let me get back to, first of all, I'm going to reduce my letting to 0 again and change it back to Evil Genius. Okay. All right, so how do we do it? Well, you want to have your bubbles on their own layer. See, I've got a layer that says bubbles, and that layer is going to be above your inks and tones and whatever else you're putting on there. I'll take the pencils out so maybe you can see a little bit better. Bubbles is the top layer of all the art. It's below all of the writing, right? So that's where it's supposed to be. All right. The way I like to do my speech bubbles is using the technical pen. Even when I'm doing my sort of noisy liner pen, I still use the technical pen, which is aliased and you know, it's real smooth. It's like my panel borders. So here we go. Just like that, right? And that's a nice tight bubble. And then you want to point the tail. You don't take it all the way to the mouth, but you want to point it towards the mouth of the character that's speaking. So it can be up here. Why is this not opaque? There we go. And then if you've closed your thing in correctly, you can just drop the white into the speech bubble and it'll be fine. Now, what if you did it a little wrong? What if you did this? What if you were drawing it? Let's erase this. What if you were drawing it and you drew it like this? That's not good, right? Maybe it's you use a little wavy line. You got too much air in the bubble. Let's drop the white in there. If you did that, your best bet is to redraw it. But if you want, you can circle it with the selection tool, choose the arrow tool, and warp. And you have the ability to kind of like tighten your bubble up a little bit. Now, my shape is too messed up, so I would probably still erase this one and redo it. So let's do it again. Let's say I went way too much here. I gave it too much space. Let's drop the white in. I can always fix it with that warping trick. Okay. A couple of things you want to avoid. Don't make the speech bubble too small. You gotta give it a little bit of room on there, see? Like that. And a couple other things to avoid. Don't make it too big. That's too much. Here's what you absolutely don't ever want to do. Where is it? Don't draw an oval and let it become an oval. You might think this looks okay. It's like, oh, look, it's a perfect oval. That's exactly what I want. But no, this is actually a terrible way to do it because ovals don't conform to the square that you put your words in, right? That's two different things. Second of all, it looks like a webcomic. You look like a low-rent webcomic when you do that. So hopefully you just got to get used to drawing it. And it'll take time before you figure it out. Just like this. Do the tail last, and then you do the fill. And because the fill is above the art and below the letters, it always fills in behind the letters, right? So that always works. So let's do this one. Now this one, it's higher up. I didn't depend on the border wall, so let's do this one with the border wall. I'm just going to hide my outline line. This is just so I can fill it in right. Inside the panel border. And you're going to go actually, I don't want to do on the sun, so let's do it right here. And you'll notice we use this square line and this square line as part of our bubble. Right? So there it is. Now, I'm not sure I like it because I put the sun over there and I've got it covering the sun and I have a weird curve right there. So I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep that, but we'll leave it for right now. All right, what if we have too much stuff? Just up ahead and some shade and there's a natural spring nearby as well, according to my databanks. One good thing to do here, first of all, let's look at our art. Oh, we got plenty of space, right? So one thing we can do here is, let's find just up ahead. Just up ahead. Let's break that out into its own thing. Just up ahead is some shade. And I could do it like this. That's kind of tight. It's too high up on, you know, if I do it this way, it looks like a T. There's too much. If I do it that way, it looks like it's balanced. This is a good way to do it right here. Whoops. Just up ahead is some shade. Then we're going to take the other part of that, and we'll make a new speech bubble. And we're just going to paste it in. Select all. I like the size of 12. Right there. Ah, see, that's a 4. That's exactly what we want. And we want it to be nice and boxy. So, and instead of starting our sentence with the word and, we could say there's a natural spring nearby as well, according to my databanks. We might say according to my databanks, there's a natural spring nearby as well. I'll think about it. Also, this is probably not that important to you, but I just want to point out that most speeches in comics end with an exclamation point. No! Exclamation. We've only seen those writers of Liddy! Exclamation point. No, Cloudman. We have seen no one such as you describe! Exclamation point. Head for sorry, Captain Hines! Exclamation point. And hope we find Korak along the way! Exclamation point. Right? Exclamation point. Especially if you're doing action. It's just a thing. It's also usually all caps. Fonts that were created for comics, like the ones you can find on Blambot, are almost always just all caps fonts. There's no lowercase for them. But you can still emphasize words and to get the pattern of speech across. So let's do that. Well, first of all, I noticed I got an extra space in there. But it says there's a natural spring nearby as well, according to my databanks. Let's take nearby and make it bold, right? Don't sweat on. Don't sleep on using the different emphasized words. Look, I did it over here. We've been walking for 2 days. Couldn't you just find a spaceship and bring it back to me? There's the back is emphasized. Let's do this one. It's so hot. Maybe that one's a bold. Right? And that's pretty much all you need to know as far as doing fonts. It's not too hard. It takes some getting used to. You should try and find, like I said, if you don't like that comic, that's an old Tarzan comic. Look at another comic and see if it helps. Like here's Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. Same stuff, right? There's panel borders. Panel borders. Here they are breaking a rule that I like, which is I don't like to use my narration boxes touching the panel borders, but they certainly definitely use it for their speech bubbles and stuff. All kinds of ways you can do it. All right. Good luck. Have fun, and any questions you have, please let me know. And if you have trouble finding the right font or anything like that, my biggest recommendation is to go to Blambot and get one of the free ones over there. They're always way better. Don't use Comic Sans, and don't use. Don't use Comic Sans. Don't try and do like uppercase, lowercase stuff. I know Marvel kind of does that lately, but it doesn't look good. All right. Anyways, maybe I'm just old school. All right. Best of luck. Talk to you later.